Please welcome Mike Sutter.
Alex is right. That is a very large headshot there, for sure. It's a little bit. So yes, thank you again for joining us today. You heard from Alex and Srini and JK about the strategic direction of PayPal and how the developer community is really going to be critical to achieving that mission. You know, when we set out to create Fastlane, we really had two primary goals. So the first is we wanted to have the fastest, highest converting checkout in all of e-commerce. So it had to be the fastest, it had to be the highest converting. And just as importantly, it had to be possible that a developer could discover it, integrate it within 2 sprints, and be up and running. Because we knew that ROI equation, that is really the formula for success. Create the value for your consumers and make it incredibly easy to adopt. And we spent the last year really in the lab where we worked with our partners, with developers, with merchants at every stage of the process. So how we designed the product, we got feedback, we built it together, we started to test it together, and that feedback really helped us shape the product that we're bringing to life here. And you know, we're really excited about the early results. And you don't just have to take it from the product guy. I know you guys have probably ready to talk about the process of integrating. But it's really a fantastic product. And I'd love to welcome to the stage Jordan Sim, the Vice President of Product Management for BigCommerce, and Kabir Chopra, the co-founder and CTO for Burrow. So, thank you. All right, gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today. I think maybe let's first kick it off. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves and about your companies.
Sure. Thanks, Mike. And it's good to see everybody here today. So I'm the Vice President of Product here at BigCommerce. BigCommerce is an e-commerce platform, and we serve B2C customers as well as B2B manufacturers, distributors, and wholesalers. And at BigCommerce, one of the areas that I look after is checkout conversion and our checkout experience. So I'm really excited to be on stage here with Mike, with our partner PayPal, but equally with Kabir, our customer Burrow, to share our Fastlane story with you.
Kabir, maybe share us a little bit about Burrow there and also just the importance of guest checkout to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Kabir, one of the co-founders and CTO at Burrow. Burrow is a direct-to-consumer furniture company. Founded it about 8 years ago. We're a New York-based company, but actually started at YC here in Mountain View. So familiar with the area and the weird summer you guys have. The idea was to take a modular sofa, put it in a box, ship it via mail, and have the customer assemble it without tools. All of this done in less than 1 week to your doorstep, whereas the traditional furniture model was like weeks and months, which kind of didn't make sense in today's environment. I mean, guest checkout is super important to us because, unfortunately, people don't buy furniture very often, especially in a business like ours. We're focused on the core essentials like the dining tables, sofas, and not so much on accessories. So new customers really where we get most of our revenue. About 80 to 85% of all purchases are from new customers, and 85 to 90% of all checkouts are guest checkouts. Even our existing customers, as you heard previously, don't like using our account. So yeah, it's just super important to us that the guest checkout experience is as fast as possible, especially in an environment like today where getting new customers to your site is just more and more expensive every day.
So Jordan, the BigCommerce platform really supports a variety of retailers. So when you look across your merchant base, what's the typical percentage of consumers going through guest checkout?
Yeah, so a little bit earlier I mentioned that we service both B2C and B2B merchants. What we actually see is north of 90% of our B2C checkouts are guest checkouts. And that number's only but increasing. We saw the stats on the slide. You've just heard it from Kabir. We see it in our data as well. We see a lot of returning customers actually coming back through the guest experience for the exact reasons that were shared earlier. So it's very clear. That whole guest experience becomes a very strategic area that all of us need to optimize.
And Jordan, I know we've been working together over the past few months to really test the new Fastlane experience. So what are you seeing? What are you hearing from merchants?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to share with you two learnings from our early testing. The first, without a doubt, Fastlane is fast.
So we have the right name.
So we have the right name.
Okay, good.
From our early testing, what we saw with the cohort of merchants that we tested with, we actually saw time to checkout reduce by at least 32%. And I'll share a real merchant story with you. So we have Burrow on stage, but we have another merchant called Black Decor. And essentially what they do is home lighting and home decor lighting products. Their non-Fastlane guest checkout experience converted at 76%, and it took their customers around 3.9 minutes to complete. We activated Fastlane within their checkout. Black Decor actually saw their checkout conversion improve to approximately 84%, and their customers were able to complete checkout in as little as 2 minutes. So the first lesson, very clear, Fastlane is fast. The second lesson that we actually saw was Fastlane is complementary. So as you can imagine, there are millions of retailers out there. All of those retailers have their own unique brand promise. They also want to deliver their custom checkout experience and their own unique customer experience within the checkout. At the most elementary level, that can be achieved by customizing the style sheet, right? So that you have the brand elements all styled to look and feel the right way. But it also extends to things like custom integrations or apps that they may inject within the checkout to offer address validation, for example, or to offer different shipping options. So what we had to do in these early lessons was we had to actually break out the entire test population into two cohorts. The first cohort was actually the big commerce merchants that were using our out-of-the-box one-page checkout. And the second cohort were the brands and retailers that developed their own custom checkout. Now, with PayPal, we had absolute confidence that our checkout experience, where Fastlane would be deployed on the out-of-the-box one-page checkout, we knew that was going to integrate seamlessly because that's how we co-developed, that's how we co-designed it. But at that time, actually, the jury was out on how would this work? How would this work on merchants who have customized their checkout? And the learning and the answer was, Fastlane is complementary. What we found is when we activated Fastlane in these custom checkouts, no apps broke, no integrations stopped. The checkout did not stop. And so it's really important for you to remember Fastlane's complementary because it not only allowed for checkout continuity, it allows for business continuity, right? And that's really, really important. We saw the success, and our customers, quite frankly, saw the success instantly. When they had that level of continuity, they had comfort and they had confidence in the Fastlane brand.
Awesome. So great to hear. I think that was really core to the focus is how do we deliver the value, bring the power of the network, and really seamlessly integrate that into the merchant's experience. So it's great to get that confirmation. So maybe let's spend some time, dive into the technical details. Walk us through what does it look like? What does it mean to integrate the Fastlane?
Sure, so I'll start with sharing BigCommerce's and PayPal's experience together, and then I'll walk you through what the actual integration experience would look like today. So I'll start off with PayPal. It roughly took us around 12 to 16 weeks to go from no concept to actually getting it integrated. And I share that with you because it took PayPal and BigCommerce 12 weeks so that we can be here on stage to be able to allow you to integrate to Fastlane in 2 sprints. So what I'm going to show you is up here, you're going to see a table. And on this table, this is the 5 steps to actually integrating to Fastlane within 2 sprints. Within the first phase, it's really design and solution. Roughly can take 1 to 5 days, and that really depends on what you have going in terms of your business priorities. But what this really looks like in terms of activities is familiarizing yourself with the Fastlane product and the developer documentation. And once you have that level of context, you can then look at your checkout and say, well, actually, how does Fastlane fit in within my current checkout experience? In phase 2, that's really around the setup. very quick. So this is looking at activating and setting up your merchant and developer accounts. It's also looking at configuring your server-side client token generation. It also touches on things around interacting with Fastlane's JavaScript SDK. Now we move into some of the fun stuff. So the client-side integration, that's phase 3. You can see there, that's as quick as half a sprint. And what this is really starting to look at are those front-end components within the checkout. So when you think about Fastlane, it really interacts with 3 different areas of that checkout. The first is the email capture, so that's really around the customer identity piece. The second is really, and we saw it a little bit earlier in the demo, the profiles. How do you get that shipping information of that particular customer loaded into that checkout? And the last is within that payment step. So how do you manage a lot of those financial instruments or those payment instruments within that payment step of checkout? From there, we move on to the 4th phase, which is really the server-side integration. This is where you are actually integrating and interacting with a lot of those payment tokens. This is where you're also working with PayPal's Orders V2 API. And you're also working on building out some of those post-transaction experiences like voiding that transaction or refunding that transaction. Optionally, you can also interact with the API to develop your own reports. But as you can see, that's the lion's share. That's the lion's of the share of the work, which is done within a sprint. That's fast. And the 5th step in this phase is really around test and launch. So this is where you're getting your live credentials. This is where you're doing your end-to-end testing. And we accommodated roughly around 1 week because it really depends on the complexity and the sophistication of your testing environments. But again, half a sprint to get your credentials, to do your end-to-end testing, and to launch, right? So that is a quick recap of just some of the components that you just need to think through when you're thinking about integrating with Fastlane. But there's a little bit more. And what I'd say is, if you're a developer here working on e-commerce implementations and experiences, and you're a developer working on top of the BigCommerce platform today, PayPal and BigCommerce work together to make it even faster than 2 sprints. It's as fast as clicking a checkbox. So I'm going to throw up a quick animation which shows what would a merchant experience to activate Fastlane. So here we've gone through to the payment settings area. You can see you've got PayPal. And as we scroll down, you're going to see a section that's dedicated to Fastlane. You click Enable Fastlane by PayPal. You click Save. Fastlane is now activated on your checkout. It's that quick and that easy. And why is that important for a developer? Because when you think about this day and age, we saw a lot of those cost profiles, right? One of the key things you want to do as a developer is be a great partner to your internal stakeholders. Why wouldn't you want something as quick as this, right? You look great. You look great in front of your business stakeholders because you're able to enable them very nimbly, very agilely, very quickly with something that has high conversion rates. So that's just a quick recap around just some of the technical details of integrating with Fastlane.
Yeah, it's a pretty seamless experience there. Kabir, as a merchant, I'd love to learn more about your experience and how.
Yeah, I mean, simply brilliant, right? Like, this is the fastest we've gone live with any checkout experience. You guys did all the heavy lifting on the PayPal and BigCommerce side, so I was literally checking that box. And I think why we weren't afraid of checking that box is because of what you brought up, the continuity, right? It didn't disrupt anything we had already in place. It was complementary, and the people who wanted to sign up for Fastlane or Fastlane users could come in, and you're enabling this amazing one-click experience. And as a merchant with limited resources and developers, we didn't have to worry about tokenization and certificates and some of the typical stuff you have to when you try to implement checkout experiences. So yeah, I mean, it couldn't have gone any faster or better. But maybe we should take a look at the demo and see how it looks on borrow.com, and you can maybe look at our website, see if you like something.
Yeah, it's a little product placement.
Reducing that acquisition cost. he wanted a refund. So
Yeah. Gotta get that autofill going there.
yeah, and, we have shipping calculated dynamically, tax, everything is already taken care of.
So it seems like the integration is incredibly simple and the results are really worth it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
Fair to say.
great captured.
Well, thank you two so much for joining us today and really sharing your experience. I think at this point, let's turn it over and give everybody in the room an opportunity to test Fastlane themselves. So thank you.
Thank you.